As a content creator that is growing, you are eventually going to realize that you are going to hit a point where you are going to experience the burnout that a lot of people that are larger or have a larger fan base, subscriber base, followers, whatever it may be, experiences. There are going to be moments where you are going to finally realize that this is what burnout feels like. And it could be tied to all sorts of things. There could be a sense of depression. There could be a sense of anxiety, or there could be just stress overall in terms of the content that you have to put out in order to meet your overall quota for the week, or when you want to be as consistent as possible. And this really manifested itself in me personally when 2020 hit. 2020 happened, and there was a lot of people that started working from home, almost exclusively myself. And because of that, that really didn't manifest as stress or anxiety until it had been X amount of time. And in 2021, I expected it to be better, and it just really didn't. And it wasn't until about Marchish of 2021 where I realized, you know what, I've got to figure this out. I've got to find a way to help myself feel better, to be at a better mental state. And this wasn't just for myself, but this was also for my family, for my friends, and for my audience as well. I wanted to go ahead and make sure that I was there for them and that I was able to produce content and quality content and still have time to be with my friends, be with my family, and keep up with my social life as well, on top of work and everything else. But there were things that I did that helped quell these things and manage these things. And those are the things that I want to talk to you about today. First and foremost, I want to talk about one of the things that helped kind of keep me going. And this is something that's recommended by the American Heart Association, and this will tie into something later on, but the American Heart Association, they recommend that you get 150 minutes a week of some form of cardio activity. And the way that I handled that was 30 minutes a day after breakfast of walking around the neighborhood. Just walking around and for 30 minutes, just an opportunity to gather my thoughts, get some blood going, and just be able to just be somewhat active. I also did this as the sun was rising, so I was able to get some vitamin D as well, something that is very recommended. It helps a ton with essentially your mood, your amount of energy, and just being healthier overall. We are plants as animals. We essentially need fresh air, we need water, clean water, and sunlight. And those are kind of like the main things to kind of like keep us active and keep us alive, aside from food, of course. But I started doing that, and I noticed something was different. The way that I presented, the way that I was on camera, the persona that I presented on camera was completely different. I also realized that there was a certain level of energy that came with that, and a certain level of and there was also a certain level of positivity that came with that as well. I was much more active. I had much more energy, and the endorphins that were kicking in every day just filled me with joy, with happiness, with positivity in being able to handle so many issues within my life. On top of that, the next thing that I would go ahead and recommend is creating a sort of schedule. As a content creator, whether you're streaming, whether you're on YouTube, you want to go ahead and set time aside for planning. Sometimes it's writing a script. Sometimes it's just sitting down and saying, hey, I want to stream these things. These are the things that I want to talk about. Because going into a stream without any sort of plan is something that I don't recommend, because what ends up happening is you end up not having content to talk about. You end up not having things to do. And that could lead towards something that's pretty relatively boring. Even in just chatting, you want to have an opportunity to have a topic or something to talk about that you can pull out if the chat is quiet. And that way you can keep the conversation going and you can keep things going. Stories as well work as well. That being said, when you have an opportunity to schedule things, you have an opportunity to create almost a pattern or an unidentified sort of consistent schedule that just happens naturally, where when you go to the gym and the time that you decide to say, you know what, like I don't want to go to the gym, it just kind of creates a bad habit, but you also feel bad because you didn't go to the gym. It's one of those things where you kind of just have to show up. You kind of just, even if you don't feel 100%, like if you're like, you know what, like I don't want to record a video, I don't want to like do it, but let me just try. And having that sort of mentality where you're just like, you know what, I'm gonna give it a go, see if it works, see if it happens. It is something that happens naturally with that consistency and doing things on a schedule on a weekly basis. The thing that tied in with the first tip that I gave you is meditation. I know that for some people, they hear meditation and they think of like the cartoons where they're kind of like sitting crisscross and like, and that's not it. That's not it at all. Meditation is a set of breathing exercises. And there's guided meditation that you can go ahead and do that kind of gives you the ropes on how to do things. But, and if you are one of those people that is new to it, I recommend an app called Headspace. It is something that I've used for years, and it has helped kind of take me out of dark places in my life. It has given me an opportunity to find myself and correct myself naturally and deal with things like stress and anxiety that come with creating content and the negativity that comes with the internet overall. Because of that, I have been able to better myself, not only for myself, my viewers, but also for my family and my friends, which I think carry much more weight than the two previous things that I talked about. But meditation is an opportunity for you to create again, ritual, a daily routine where you wake up, you have breakfast, and you meditate. And it can only be 5 minutes, it could be 10 minutes, but it's an opportunity to give yourself time where it's just you, there's no one else. You focus on whatever it is that you want. For a lot of people, when it comes to meditation, they try to chase this empty state of mind, or a calm state of mind. But in reality, at least from my personal experience, that's not the case. There is this overall feeling of so many things that are happening within my mind, and constantly trying to reflect on what happened the day before or what I'm looking forward to if I'm doing a morning meditation throughout the day. And this sets up my mental state so that I'm able to handle whatever issues arise throughout the day. And when it comes to streaming or content creation, there's a lot of stress, there's a lot of anxiety. Are people going to like what I watch? Are they not going to like what I watch? Look at my numbers, they're going down. That helped me keep myself at ease. And it was something that helped really, really well. With content creation, you always want to have something that you can pull out of your pocket if you don't really know what to do. And there's certain pieces of content types that just help with handling that. Things that just work. I wouldn't recommend creating a channel specifically around one of these pieces of content, but they just work. First and foremost, reactions. Reactions, they work. People search for them. They want to relate to a content creator, and that viewer feels close to that person, almost like a pseudo relationship, when they see that they're just as hyped as they are for whatever it is that they're seeing or whatever it is that they're reacting to. When it comes to another searchable type of topic, whether it's YouTube or Twitch, if you're doing this, you can go ahead and talk about news. There's news that happens in every single industry. Doesn't matter whether you're into gaming, whether you're into sports, whether you're into politics, like whatever. There's always news happening in whatever industry you're in. So there's always something to talk about. If you're to go ahead and cover news in whatever topic or whatever industry you're in, you will be one of the few people that YouTube has to go ahead and suggest. If somebody goes on a YouTube and searches for a specific thing, your video is going to pop up. Twitch is a little bit different. Again, Twitch's discoverability is kind of crap. But with Twitch, if you go ahead and set yourself up to be like, hey, every day I'm going to come on at this time and I'm going to say these specific things talking about specific topics or industries, then that's something that people will eventually over time come to expect. And overall, everything else that is tied to news can also be opinionated. You can either agree with it or not. You can say this is the best thing that I've ever heard, or this is the worst thing that I've ever heard. But creating editorial videos or editorial streams talking about specific things is something that people can go ahead and eventually look forward to. If they agree with you, then they're going to like you, and they're probably going to stay with you a little longer. Versus if they disagree with you, they're probably going to say, you know what, like, I don't like the way that this guy thinks, and they'll drop off. Being divisive does generally create a stronger bond with whichever way the audience sways. Anyways, guys, I hope that these tips helped you in whatever way possible. If you've made it this far into the video, please let me know in the comments below. That way I will know, and it makes me feel good reading stuff like that. It feels great. Obviously, like, subscribe, and all that other stuff, and I will see you on the next one, guys. Peace.